Welcome everybody and Bruchim Aboim. This week we're hearing Parshas Yisro. Parshas Yisro is in a certain way this most special parsha in the whole Torah. It's talking about Matan Torah, Hashem giving the Torah to the Jewish people. That's the biggest revelation and relationship that the Jewish people had with the Eibishter from creation till now. Only when Mashiach comes will have bigger and better. So let's look at it a little bit. Take at least if it's very rich, we'll take probably more one angle or two angles. The Parsha is called Yisro. Why is it starting with Yisro? We're talking about the Jewish people, we're talking about the Torah Hashem, we're talking about Hashem, the relationship with Hashem with Eden, we're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, we're talking about giving the Torah to Eden. How it became the whole Parsha called Yisro, and Yisro is acting like a main part in that. What is the purpose of that? What does it mean? Should have called Matan Torah Parsha. Or at least should start with Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, as we said, Torah Tzivalon Moshe. That right? That it said that when the baby starts speaking, you teach him Torah Tzivalon Moshe. Torah was given to us, commanded to us by Moshe Rabbeinu. Meirosha Kehilas Yaakov. It's inherited a Yerusha of the Jewish congregation, of the Jewish nation. So she started with Moshe Rabbeinu. But while we're saying that pasuk, that Moshe Rabbeinu, in the first pasuk you're teaching a child, first one, we start speaking, it's Torah Tzivalon Moshe, Torah commanded us by Moshe. Mirosha, it's an heritage, it's a Yerusha, Kehilas Yaakov of the Jewish congregation, of the Jewish nation. Why is God's name not mentioned here? So before we ask why made a big issue of Israel, but now the question on that pasuk, it's not a pasuk in this week's parsha, but we're talking about the idea of giving the Torah. Why that should say Torah Tzivalon HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Torah was commented by the Eibishter. Alidei Moshe, via Moshe, Yerusha Kehilas Yaakov. But the first pasuk is sitting a little child, telling him that the Torah, but Hashem give us the Torah, in mentioning Moshe Rabbeinu, in not mentioning B'chal the Eibishter. Maybe when there's older Kabbalah, Chassidus, Midrashim, maybe we'll find a way to explain it. But here you're teaching it to a little child, telling him the first thing, telling him, making the whole big thing is that Torah Tzivalon Moshe. Yeah, the Gemara explains because Mosa Nafshe Aleh, because he gave his life away for it. That's when he crossed Al Shmei, but still it's not fair. But the Eibishter should be here. And Pesach, interesting. We don't mention Moshe Rabbeinu in the Haggadah. Why? Because we should realize that the Eibishter is the main playing character. So and still one time it's mentioned. I believed in Hashem Moshe Avdei. What we asked that last week. I don't think we gave it justice to answer. We didn't have time. So in a way, you're not mentioning Moshe Rabbeinu, the whole Haggadah, because you want the main star should be the Eibishter. And then what you're doing, you're bringing one pasuk, Aminu Hashem Moshe Avdei, we put Moshe in an equal place. Aminu Hashem over Moshe Avdei. We believe that Hashem and Moshe is his servant, and you make Moshe the main character almost like equal to the Eibishter. How could we do that? So, see, something is here. First comes Yisro, the name of the Parsha. And then we have, as I said that Moshe comes in to be a very, very like main character in the whole thing. He's going back and forth from the Eden to the Eibishter, the Eibishter to Eden. And the whole Torah Moshe Kibbel Torah Misina in the first Mishnah in Avos. Again, don't say Mekil Torah Misina, don't say Miakadosh Baruch Hu. Why not? Wouldn't it be better? Moshe Kibbel Torah Miakadosh Baruch Hu. Al Hasinai. If you want to mention Hasinai, say Al Hasinai. But why is it almost like not mentioning the Eibishter and not in the pasuk Torah Tziva, not in the Mishnah? And again, yeah, since especially we're talking about the babies, little children, So you, for sure, you should tell him about the Eibishter. You want to later or go up, bring him explaining the idea of Mesha Rabbeinu. And as we said, Mesha Rabbeinu is mamish mentioned again and again. By Deva Shimon Mesha spoke to the Eibishter, Mesha spoke to the Eden, Mesha up and Mesha down, making such a important and main character in the whole thing. Sounds a little bit exaggerated. It could be even dangerous. Make Mesha Rabbeinu. Yankee Rabbeinu asked, he shouldn't be buried in Mitzrayim. Why? Because he was one of the reasons he was afraid that would make him into an idol. Here, the Jewish people coming from Mitzrayim with the idol worship. So there's also a danger that Chadushan will make Mesha Rabbeinu an idol, if giving him so much cover and so much central acting, being the center of everything. Okay, then we see an interesting thing. Yisro comes and he says, Ato yodaiti ki godel havayim mikol elokim. Now I know that God is the greatest from all gods. Rashi, how do you know now? So says Rashi, that he knew he knew all the avodah zarah, he worshipped all the idol worshippers in the world. And therefore he knew that the Eibishter is bigger than all of them. He already had understanding and knowledge and experience with all the other idols. Now I knew that the Eibishter is the biggest. So let's ask honestly a question. There was no WhatsApp at that time. How do you know maybe there's somewhere of another avodah zarah, another 10 avodah zarah that you don't know? Maybe in the Far East, in China, there is avodah zarah that you never saw. How do you know the Eibishter is going? Because how do you say he worshipped all the gods, all the avodah zarahs? How do we know that? How does he know that he worshipped all? Maybe there's something more. Question. Then you could ask a question. Maybe tomorrow somebody will come up with another avodah zarah. So what means? How does he say God lie? After you died, and now that God lavai mikol elokim. So this question in technically, does he know that? And then it says in Zohar, just interesting, that Yisro said, God, after you died, God lavai mikol elokim. Now I know God, the Eibishter is the greatest from all of them. That opened the door for Matan Torah. If you wouldn't say that, it wouldn't be possible to Hashem forgive us the Torah. Why not? What's the problem? He's a convert. He's welcome. Gesundheit. Big Yiches is a father-in-law of Mesha Rabbeinu. Gesundheit. But if he wouldn't say, after you die to God, Lavai Mikol Elokim, why couldn't it be Matan Torah? Then we find another interesting thing when, in the same line of saying when it couldn't be Matan Torah. It says if there would be missing, there were 600 Jews in the age from 20 to 60. If there would be missing one would be missing, it couldn't be Matan Torah. Not only missing one from the great character, from great people, he was the lowest Jew. He was the idol worshiper, who is Mami, the worst of the worst. If he wouldn't be there, nobody would be able to get the Torah. Why not? It's a game of numbers. It's quality. The idea the Rebbe is giving the Torah 600 times. So they're missing one. First of all, there's younger kids also. No, we don't count them. We need from 20 to 60. We need every Jew. We need to be there. If one was missing, cannot give the Torah. Why not? What I'm saying is it's telling us something about Matan Torah. Something is interesting. Something is hiding here. Now, I would say it a little bit. What is the purpose of Hashem gave us the Torah? So many people look at it. It's the best book of life. If you want to live a quality life, you want to live a good life, intellectually, emotionally, practically, have the best quality of life. Go by the. God is giving you a user guide, right? He created the world. Now he's telling us how to behave, how to come to do the best of our life. That means basically, what is the premise of that approach? Our life, to live a best quality life, that is the beginning and the end of everything. That's the main thing. And Hashem gave us a system how we could have the best kind of life. That's what Matan Torah is to give us. That we should be able to reach to the highest level that a person can reach. He's created by God, but if you want to develop yourself to the maximum, it's by following the word Torah mitzvahs. That's what many people look at it as. The question is it true? Yes, it's true. But the question is that that's all what it is? Or maybe that's a side benefit, like the 5 cents that you have in addition to the main thing what I'm going to give you Torah. And if it's just as a guide for the user, makes such a balagan and such a big story, I hold that, and the whole reason they came out from Mitzrayim is in order should be a better person, be a mensch, as we call it. And the main thing should be a mensch. Now, the other question we could ask: why didn't Hashem give the Torah to the Goyim also? If it's a guide for life, let everybody have it. The Goyim didn't want it, so find a way how to give it to them. He found a way to the Jews. He put a mountain on top of our head, right? Covered the mountain and said, if you're accepting it, it's good. If not, I'll bury you. He could do that to the Goyim also. They would also surrender to take the Torah. But what it seems like, that's much more than that. The Goyim got 7 Sheva mitzvahs b'nei ner, the 7 Noachai laws. What that is to make them into good people, right, and to help them to develop, to make the world a fantastic place to be. To have a perfect world, right, be a good place where everybody should be safe, and we should be behaving ourselves. That is the 7 Noachai laws. The 7 Noachai laws is basically a guide for a perfect world. If a person keeps the 7 Noachai laws, and again, not because he understands it, could understand why it's good, but the main thing is because Hashem gave it to Moshe Rabbeinu on Har Sinai, that the Goyim should keep it. So he has to have that bit idea of beyond his logic and beyond his appreciation, not that the Eibishter gave it. Then he'll have Elam Haba. That means he'll have Elam Haba, the Rambam said, after he dies. But even in this world, he'll live the most quality life. He'll live the best of his abilities. He'll develop his talents and his character and his ability and his hidden talent and strength and character that he has, the ability to the maximum. And that's why we'll go to Elam, and especially has the idea that he believes in the Eibishter. And he's keeping it not because it makes sense, because that's what the Eibishter wants him. So he has the idea of Emunah, which is beyond logic also. Then you'll have Elam Haba also. So let's go back a little bit to the idea of what is the idea of Matan Torah, and how Moshe Rabbeinu is playing in a certain way like a very, very, very important thing here, beyond what seemingly would make sense. Okay, so let's start with Yisro a little bit. The purpose of Torah, we'll start with the next step idea. How did Yisro know that God Lavai Mekol Elokim? I asked a simple question. It sounds to me a sensible question. Maybe there's something that you didn't hear about it yet. Maybe that's better even than the Jewish religion. Maybe tomorrow somebody will come up with a better idea. The world is evolving, one on top of another, from good philosophies. There you go. So I think the explanation for that is that he worshipped all the idols. That means that he was such a broad mind when he had a picture of all potential that the world has. Not because he went around, he made sure that to find every idol worshiper in the world and study that and that. He was also talking about idols, not only physical idols, mainly not physical, talking about spiritual malachim and powers. And to hear the picture from the world on a deeper level, that you saw all the potentials, what you could be worshiping here. You could worship talents, you could worship emotions, you could worship intellect, you could worship something beyond intellect, anything. So he had a picture that he knew that he has the whole picture of everything, every possibility. That's number one. So that's why I think that could be the explanation what means that he worshipped all the idols and he knew that. But now, when he saw what Yiddishkeit is, he saw something beyond everything, all the potential that could be. That's the absolute truth. It cannot be not because it's practically it cannot be. Somebody will not come to bring it out. In concept, in the understanding. In other words, when you're saying that even infinity, that means to be doing because the Eibishter said, the 7 Noach laws. Well, that's already accepting the Eibishter, but it's not Torah yet. So when you touch the absolute truth, touches something what let's call it beyond infinity and beyond infinitely time beyond infinity, and even that is an insult for the Eibishter. So therefore, there's nothing to go beyond that. So when Matan Torah, what he saw in the relationship of the Eibishter with Eden, and Matan Torah, what's happening here, that this is something that's not within the world of Pri Yitzir Asiyah, for example. The Eibishter is the biggest because he knew all the other ones. No. Mikol Alekim doesn't mean only from idol worship, from all powers. Everything, whatever you're going to say, is beyond that. What's happening here? The Rebbe wanted to explain that we call in Yiddish, you call the Eivish God, Eibishter. God, what we say, Eibishter. What means the Eibishter? In Yiddish, translation, Eibishter means the above one. What means the above one? Says the Rebbe, above whatever you're going to say is above it. You say he's infinite, is above it. You say he's finite, he's finite and infinite together is above it. Nothing could express it. But that's, I don't know if we got too much in that, but it's a little bit. So we're saying that he saw here that here is a revelation that it's not practically there's nothing that could be compete with that. It's not coming into the equation. God not means bigger because there are 5 meters and he's 6 meters. So there's that and he's bigger. And that's completely out of range of that. Now, why was it so important that he should say it? Because the whole effect of Matan Torah is to reveal in one sentence that God is everything and everything is God. There's nothing beside God. Not only that there is a world and we should behave the best of our ability and develop the maximum what we can, but the idea is to say that the whole world should be permeated. So therefore, since we want that the world should be permeated with the appreciation there's nothing beside God and God is everything and everything is God, but that also needs explaining, but I don't think we'll go into that now. So we needed somebody who represents the world, that the world should have some kind of a touch of appreciation of that. Who represented the world the best was Yisro, because he worshipped all the idols of the world. So he as an embodiment of all the powers of the world. And he gave the recognition that the Eibishter is bigger than that, and therefore everything is nullified to the Eibishter, and that's why they could penetrate into the world, that the whole world will become one with, be revealed how it's one with God, there's nothing beside God. So again, we need it as a preparation for Matan Torah. If it was a preparation just to give us a guide, a user guide, to how to live the best kind of life, you don't need we don't need the whole balagan, that all the miracles around it. Yeah, maybe it makes it helpful, but people to follow it better. But to replicate a system of life. The idea was to penetrate, permeate, to connect with Eibishter of the whole world. But we know before Matan Torah, they couldn't connect godliness with the world. But it's a weekend that. But here was the idea to connect. So we needed that the world should recognize that the ultimate, only true being, the only true truth is the Eibishter. And therefore, they had to admit, as a preparation to that revelation of Matan Torah, to be the admitting of the world to the Eibishter, to recognize the Eibishter. And that was the role of Yisro in the story. Okay, now the next question, what we asked, one of the main question is, why is Moshe Rabbeinu such an important character in the whole story? Why do we teach a child the first thing, Torah Tzivah Lanu Moshe, we don't even mention the Eibishter? And the Mishnah, Meshach Yoter Misina, it doesn't mention the Eibishter also. So we're saying Moshe was the Nasi there. He was the king of the Jewish people. He was the Nasi of the and it says a Nasi who Akel and Hakelu Nasi. The Nasi is everybody, and everybody are the Nasi. What does it mean? Nasi? He's everything. He's everybody, and he's in the Ten Commandments in the Parshas in Chumash Dvorim. You're mentioning over there. So he's saying over there, I'm standing between you and God. What means you're standing between us and God? The Jews are forbidden to have somebody between the people and God. They go straight to the Eibishter. B'Shemini saying, Baruch Atah Hashem. Kavli come more like a servant in front of you, standing in front of the Eibishter. And even other words, before you, Baruch Atah Hashem. You're saying you're talking to him, present company, you're talking straight to Hashem. A Jew is not allowed to have anybody between him and the Eibishter. A Jew goes straight to the Eibishter. A Goy is allowed to have a memutza, to have an intermediator. A Jew is not allowed to have. What means you're going straight to the Eibishter? If you're going straight to the Eibishter, that means you have to go somewhere. So there is the levels what you're going in between. So what means we're going straight to God? So we know that the neshama has 5 levels. You have nefesh, the lowest level, ruach, neshama, chaye, yechide. Where yechide is the etzem neshama, the essence of the neshama. So obviously, the nefesh is the lowest level. Ruach is the deeper level of the nefesh. Neshama is the deeper level of ruach. Chaye is deeper level in everything. It's going deeper into the person, the more emes, what the person, what the real person, what you truly say that he's Yechide. Now, even the Yechide, as the essence of the Jew, is that the highest level what he is? No. It is what we call the Yechide HaKlalis. In other words, the Jew that he's rooted in the absolute essence of the Eibishter. So all the 5 levels that you have is the way it came out of revelation from the Eibishter to lower levels. Even the essence of the Jew, the Yechide, is still a level how revealed itself, unfolded to lower level. But what's happening? But we're saying, but a Jew goes straight to he doesn't have to go straight to the Eibishter. If you're going straight, means that you are here and he's there, and you're going to him straight. That means there's something in between here, the way you're going. A Jew has to be completely one, absolutely one with the Eibishter, with the absolute essence of the Eibishter. And I would say more has to be in a revealed way that you absolutely one with the essence of the Eibishter. So in other words, every one of our neshamas, his absolute essence, not the Yechide, higher than the essence, than Yechide, much higher than Yechide. We call it Yechide HaKlalis, we call it even maybe higher. The absolute essence is the Eibishter. Every Jew in his essence is the Eibishter. That's why, if you want to call it, we call it children of the Eibishter, we call it Chelek Elakan. So even that normally these levels are not talking about the absolute essence of the Jew. But in the deepest level, you are mamish one with the Eibishter. So Moshe Rabbeinu, in his body was his neshama was the Yechide HaKlalis, was the general Yechide, and that level where the Jews and that level in where the Jew and the Eibishter is one. That level of the Jewish people, where they are one with the Eibishter, now they're connected to the Eibishter. They're absolutely one. There's no two things here. That level was that was in Moshe Rabbeinu's body. That's why Nasi Hu Akel, because that's the whole Jewish nation who are one with the Eibishter. That's the real essence of everything. So it's not just Moshe is Akel. Everybody are like in a certain low level, and he has equal to everybody, shokol to everybody. No. He is the level of the Etzem and Shem. In other words, he is just like you have Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Yechide. In you have the Yechide HaKlalis, that's Moshe Rabbeinu. Or you maybe go even higher than Yechide HaKlalis, the absolute essence of your Neshama, that's Moshe Rabbeinu, it's you. In a body, it looks like it has a different body. But it says clear in Tanya, okay? Every Jew has a spark, and the Gemara says in a certain way. That's clearly right, but every Jew has a spark of Moshe Rabbeinu himself. What is the spark? Not a spark from him and them. You are a limb of Moshe Rabbeinu, of the Nasi Adel. In other words, that aspect that the Jew is one with the Eibishter is in the world, in our world, that comes manifests in our world, in that level of where the Jew, when the Eibishter is in our world. So therefore, when that's what you want to tell the child, in his essence of his education, when you start teaching him more between the lines than in the line itself, you're telling him you are one with the Eibishter, you are one with Moshe Rabbeinu. Not that you are here, Moshe Rabbeinu. Yes, in Revelation, you're right, you are on lower level. Moshe Rabbeinu is in a much infinitely higher level than you, and the obvious higher level. But in the absolute essence, you are in Moshe Rabbeinu and the Eibishter is mamish one, not united, mamish one. And that's what you're telling the child. Teira tzivul on Moshe. Teira was given to us from Moshe. Teira is the idea to reveal in us that level where we want to be the Eibishter. Not only that to give us a guide in our life how to live the best spiritual and rich and deep and holy life. That's all I would call it a revelation, a lower level of the idea. But the essence idea that you are absolutely one with the Eibishter, that's the main thing of the Torah, to reveal that in us. And therefore comes the idea, as Hashem, what did he put in it in his Torah? On Neichi Avai Lekecha, it says, Ano Nafshi, it's the Rashi Tevis of Ano Nafshi, I my soul, Ksovis, I wrote it in, Yehovis, I gave it into Torah. The Rebbe to put himself in the Torah. The Torah is not, yes, it's brilliant, it's the best way system of life, but that's not what it is. That is like side benefits of that. The main thing is that you are absolutely, that the Eibishter put his essence in the Torah. That means a revelation of the essence of the Eibishter, the absolute essence where we are one with the Eibishter, that he put into Torah. So when you learn Torah, you are one with the Eibishter in the deeper level. In the lower level, there's other things happening. You're connecting yourself with the Eibishter in lower level of godliness. And that's why maybe it explains a little bit. If there be missing one Jew, nobody could get the Torah. Because the Torah is not an idea that you're giving the biggest chokhmah, the biggest system, the most richest system, the most spiritual, the most holy system. No, talking about all the Jews together, right, as one with is Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is the essence of everybody. Not he only has the everybody in himself. He's the absolute essence where that level where the Jew, every Jew, and all Jews together in the complete level is one with the Eibishter. That is revealed in Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is the essence of the neshama of all of us, the absolute essence, and that's why he had Mesiras Nefesh for us. He had self-sacrifice for us in different ways and different. So the idea is ultimately to get to that idea, to that appreciation, I would say, or to know that and to live that in a certain way. That we are absolutely one with the Eibishter. Ein Milvad is not inside the Eibishter. And then we have to bring it into the world. That ultimately there's nothing beside the Eibishter. Not only the Jewish people are one with the Eibishter, the whole world has to be. But the world is filling up a system of preparation for that. The world has to be a good place where we could bring in the essence of God into the world. But remember, that's the idea of Mashiach, what's going to be revealed when Mashiach comes. By Matan Torah, the tremendous, biggest revelation of godliness. But the ultimate, infinitely higher revelation would be Dafka when Mashiach comes. And that's why it would be near to one Mashiach, because we want to be with our absolute essence. Why should we live with lower level of ourselves, what we call it external level, or even if it's very deep, but it's not the absolute essence, the essence who we really are. Not only the absolute essence of you are that, when you reveal that absolute essence that you're one with the Eibishter, that penetrates and completely in your whole being, in your whole five levels, in your Yechide, in Chaye, in Neshama, in Ruach, in Nefesh. So that was the idea of Matan Torah, was the opening, and that's what, again, Matan Torah will not be. Matan Torah was the beginning of completely a different idea, completely, not a refinement or elevation. It was the idea of completely the Jew and the Eibishter is absolutely one. what we're not going to that, but that's the idea of we are the chosen nation, where we became not only children of the Eibishter, but even servants of the Eibishter. All of them together brings out ultimately the idea that the Jewish people are one with the Eibishter, and we have to bring that essence of the Eibishter to be revealed in the world, that the whole world should recognize that is Eined Milvade. And with that, we've learned that Erev Shabbos of Matan Torah would be the appropriate time of to have the Gilui of Mashiach, but that's the Yechida Klolis, that's the essence of all Jewish people and the truth of all Jewish people. Therefore, no Jew will be left behind, because that's the essence of the Jew. It doesn't make anything what happening with you externally. And if Tichot Sefer Zolas Tshuva, that every Jew will do Tshuva. And the Rebbe said, we did Tshuva, it means to do Tshuva that even your revelation will become completely uplifted to that. So we should have the reading of Matan Torah in the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi, Teich V'miyad Mamish. Kol Tov B'Atzlacha Rabeh.